Mai hoki mai e te whānau. Thank you for joining us for another live stream. Gee, we're kind of getting a bit makachili at the moment, aren't we? If you're first time here, nau mai haramai, ko kain toku ingoa, he uri a hua te iwi o Ngaitahu. I used to do these live streams a number of years ago, and there was a lot of interest for me to bring them back, so I brought them back. This is not my mahi, but I do work at Te Wānanga o Aotearoa, but we always wanted to make these free for everybody. So thank you for joining us. Don't forget to chicken in. Kia ora, Shaniqua, Joanna, George. Thank you all for chickening in. Now, if you don't get the chicken reference, it's an old running joke that we used to ask people to check in, and it became chicken. So kia ora mō o koutou chickens. Kia ora Cheryls and Danny, thank you all for chickening in. Waiting for one from Connie. Joelle, kia ora, kia ora, kia ora. Right, tonight I'm actually really excited about this one because this is where I really get to play around with PowerPoint. And if you don't know, all of this month we've been doing un-PowerPoint month, which means we've been using PowerPoint to do things other than making or doing presentations. So we've done posters, other kinds of graphics, yeah, little fancy stuff like that. Kia ora Katrina and Tiwana, hopefully I've spelled that right, and Nosnibor. Thank you all for chickening in. And so let's get into it, okay? So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. But we'll flick over to the screen. Now this is PowerPoint. We're in kind of PowerPoint. I've set up a bunch of slides already because I'm going to show you three kind of different things that you can do with this. Really, really cool for making activities, but also using it to do things like storybooks for whānau and stuff like that. Read books. So we'll have a look at what we got first. First is just a quiz, simple quiz type of thing. We've got some text. Kia ora Paula, so awesome to see you online. And Harmy, Danielle, who have I missed? Okay, so yeah, just some text, nice big 4 times 5 equals, and then some boxes with text in them. So just ordinary shapes and a couple of ordinary shapes like that. And if you saw the little promo video I showed, this is what it does. So 4 times 5, if I click on the wrong ones, it gives me a little try again that pops up and then fades away. If I click on the right one, yay! And then the next button where I can go to the next one. Okay, so we're going to look at how we actually set that up. So here we are on slide 2. This is our next one, and we've got 2 audio files. We've got yay! Our yay, and we've got the boo. Okay. And then we've got my text again and the text boxes, 6 times 8. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to use these sound files to trigger them playing, but also trigger other animations. Kia ora Kiri Kowhai and Shaney. Yeah, we missed you, Paula, at the campus. Okay, so what I'm going to do is come to animations. I'm going to drag my yay file on top of the right answer, and then I'm going to make it bigger so it fits over the whole box. So if anyone clicks on this, it will trigger. I'm going to open up my animation pane. And then I'm going to click on playback for this audio file, and I want to start it when clicked on. And we can see it's appeared in our animation pane now. Okay, so when someone clicks on this, it will trigger. Okay, what else have we got happening? The next thing we're going to do, I'll just move that off that a little bit, is we want this to flash, just to flash up a little bit. So if we come back here and we have a look, we can see that we have an animation. Let's come back to our animation pane. That's a color pulse. So this little animation in our timeline is a color pulse. So let's come here. Let's choose our box. And from our animations, let's go and find color pulse. Now we can do all kinds of things. Like we can get it to wiggle. I've just had it color pulse, spin. Okay. We don't want it to take long doing anything. So I'm just going to go color pulse. Okay. And then I want to click that and drag that underneath the audio trigger. So when the audio is triggered, when it's clicked on, then we're going to do this with previous. Okay. So that little pulse is going to happen at the same time. And what we also want to do is, because this is the right answer, 6/8 is 48, then we also want this to animate, and we want it to appear. So I think we had it zooming. Okay. And so we're going to put that there too, and we'll make it start with previous. So this one little animation, or this one little trigger, is going to animate two other boxes. Okay, so let's do that again for one of the wrong ones. Once again, we're going to make it big. We're going to make it fill up the whole size of the box. So we'll just move it off for a sec. Okay. We'll select the audio file. We want to go playback, once again, when clicked on. So it's really important that we use it when it's clicked on, because this is going to be an actual interactive activity. Okay, and now we can see that that triggers appeared there. So once again, we'll come to our text box with our little shape here, the green one, B68. Come to animations. We want it to do a color pulse. Okay. And then, so let's drag that down underneath. Start with previous. Then we want the try again to appear. Okay, so we're going to do a zoom for that as well. Zoom. We'll put that underneath. Start with previous. And then we want it to disappear. So we're going to add an animation and come down to the exit animations and just get it to fade out. We'll take that down underneath as well, but we don't want it to happen straight away. So we're going to go start after previous. So it's going to wait till the sound effect is finished. Kia ora, Janet. So cool to see you. Thanks for joining in and chickening in. Okay. So that's our sequence. When the wrong answer is clicked, then it's going to bring up the try again. It's going to flash this box. And then after the sound is finished, then the try again is going to disappear. Okay. But we've got another wrong answer. So we want to control copy the sound. So I've selected the sound file, Control V to paste it. I've just got another one. There's the trigger there. So let's do that again. Let's do a color pulse. Okay. And then try again, animation. We want to add an animation, and we want it to zoom. Okay, let's take that down there. Let's take that down there and change them again to start with previous. Okay. And then the last one is we want the try again to disappear again. So we're going to go exit, fade. Drag it under again, and let's change it to start after previous. Okay, so let's have a look what that looks like. Let's drag these back over top. Okay. And let's have a look at this. Yay! Yep, so that one's brought up the next. I'm just gonna... That's brought up the try again, and it fades out. Fades out. And you can see we do get that color pulse. Okay, but we don't want these big speaker icons appearing over the top. Okay, so what we're going to do is actually change how they look. And we've got our animation pane on the right hand side. We can also have our background. So we're going to click on format background and have our background on there too. Let's click our speaker. We're going to come to the last option in these 4 different kind of options and picture transparency. And we're just going to drag the transparency all the way to the top. So it's now transparent. It's still fitting over that box, but we just can't see it. And let's do that for the other 2 as well. Transparency all the way up. Transparency all the way up. So let's have a look now. 6/8 is 68. Oh, no. Yay! Yay! Cool. So now I click on that, but it's not going anywhere. But also, Julia, thanks for checking in. So not going anywhere. So the last thing that we need to do is we need to turn this next button into a link. So it's going to trigger something as well. So let's right click on it and we're going to, let's just remove that link. We're going to link it. And now we get our insert link option coming up and we want to place in this document and it's going to go to the next slide. Okay, so if you've got a whole kind of quiz of stuff, you can copy the pages, just change the parts around and then, yeah. And then your next button is always going to go to the next slide. So let's just check if that works. Okay. Yay! Click on the right one, go next. And it's taking us to the next one. Got a Dahlia. So that's the basics of what we're going to do. We're going to use triggers and we're going to, yeah, have those audio triggers doing things in our PowerPoint. So this would be great on the touchscreen too, because you could just have it over there. Actually, one more thing I'll show you is that if I go and click somewhere else, just like in PowerPoint, it's going to go to the next slide. So I don't want that to happen. So what I want to do is come up to transitions and we want to go to over where it says advanced slide and we want to untick on mouse click. So if someone clicks their mouse on a blank space, it's not going to advance that slide further. Okay, let's look at our next one. So here we've got, once again, we've got a shape with text in it. Waiho ngā huarako ki roti te oko. Put the fruit in the bowl. We've got aporo and a picture of an apple, banana, huakiwi, and arani. Okay, so I've just got those pictures from my favorite website, Pixabay, for getting free or royalty-free images. And here I've got Apro.
Apro.
Right? So I've recorded that sound and I've done exactly what I did with this one. I hit it and if I come to our animation pane and I've got triggers. So let's see what that does. Click on Apro.
Apro.
Got it, wet it. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for chickening in. Okay, so how do we do that? So firstly, we're going to insert audio, and I can record audio myself. I'm going to change the name of this audio to Panana and record. Panana. Panana. Okay. If I'm happy, I can just go okay. If I'm not, I just click on record again and re-record. Panana. Panana. Hey, and now we have our audio file, Panana. It's sitting right in the middle. So once again, I'll just put that over there and I'll record the others. So insert audio, record audio. I'll give it a name. Okay, it's important to have the name so you know, because that's what it's going to show up in our animation pane. Huakiwi.
Huakiwi.
Kia ora, Tina. Oh, all the old school are in town. So cool to see you online. Thank you for joining in. And last one. Record audio. Arani. Arani. Yeah, and let's put that there. Okay. Now my Apro one.
Apro.
You can see it takes a while to come in. Okay. There's a really cool feature when we have audio or video called trim. Okay. And so we can trim, and hopefully you can see it. It's a bit faded, but I can actually see the wave file jumping up and down in the middle where I'm talking. So I can just take the front, and so it's just going to play that lot.
Apro.
Let's drag that out.
Apro.
So now
Apro.
it doesn't, there's no delay there. Okay, next thing, we want our animations. So I'll do Panana next. And you can see I've got fruit up the top. They're sitting outside of the window. We have our apple, and that's what dropped in. So now I'm going to go to Panana. I'm going to come to animations, and I'm going to choose a motion path. So a motion path is a line in which an animation happens. So we've got to start and we've got to end. And we can do all kinds of funky things with motion paths. Okay. Put that there. Bring that up so the Panana isn't coming over that front edge. Okay. So now the banana is going to drop down from the top in that line. Okay. I'll find my Panana audio file. Select it, playback. Once again, change that when clicked on. Okay. So when clicked on, it's going to play, and picture 8, which is our Panana, is going to slide down. The last thing that I want to do is, because actually let's have a look at, see what that looks like. Panana. And it's not sliding down. Okay, because we need to change this to start with previous. There we go. Troubleshooting on the fly. Panana. Okay.
Apro.
Apro comes down a lot faster. Kia ora, Shah. Thanks for joining in. And the chicken. Okay. So we can change our timing. So if we right click on one of our items in our animation pane, we get these options, effect options, timing. I'll just come to effect options, okay? And I can change the timing and change it from its duration of 2 seconds to 1 second. So I'm speeding it up. Okay, let's carry on. Let's do the next one. For a Kiwi, we want to playback when clicked on. And effect options. No, that's it. Just clicked on. Then we want our kiwi fruit. Animations. Lines in our motion path. Try and zoom in so we can see there's a little, oh, right here. It's a little dot. Okay, so we're dragging down the start and the end. Let's make that a little bit bigger because it's a big kiwi fruit. Must be from Te Puke. Oops. And drag that down, change it to start with previous, effect options, timing to 1 second. Okay. And last one, Arani. Make that bigger. I haven't got an Arani up the top. I'm going to Control C to copy it, Control V to paste. Nice Arani from Taitokero. Playback when clicked on. So like this could be a learning resource for people learning te reo. If you wanted to practice your own reo, you could be doing this as a little activity for your whānau to try. And then Arani, animations, scroll down until motion paths. Okay, you don't have to use motion paths. It could be, you could have them in the right space already. And then all you have to do, like just have them fade in or whatever. But it's kind of a cool little thing that you can do. And I get to show you something new. Start with previous and then timing 1 second. And then remember the last thing we want to change so that these icons of the audio file are transparent. So we'll come here, come to our last option, picture transparency, drag it all the way up. Make them disappear. Okay, so let's see what that looks like now. Waiho huarako ki roti te oko.
Āporo.
Panana. Huakiwi. Arani. Huakiwi. Panana. Okay, so a nice little activity that you can create with those same kind of things. Okay. Once again, we want to come to our transitions and make sure we untick on mouse click so it doesn't move forward. There's another trick that I'll show you that also does this, but we'll do that at the end. Okay, our last one, we have this. Okay, so this is like a audio book, almost, or like a talking book. Now the text is from a website called Pahu. that has placeholder text. That's pahu.maori.nz. Okay. So it's just a Maori text generator, and you can choose from Maui and the giant fish, or Maui and the sun, and Maori or English text. Okay. So I just chose Maori and the sun and Maori text, and use that to fill in here. But I've also highlighted a word. Okay. And then I've got a button. So this is if I insert a shape, I've used one of these action buttons down the bottom. Okay. So let's see what this page looks like. Okay. If I press on the button,
E tētahi ahiahi e whakarere ana a Māui me ona tuakana I tētahi hāngi, hai hākari mā rātau. Kātahi anō ka mutu ake te whakawera I ngā kōhatu, ka tō te rā, ka pauri rawa mō rātau. Ka hoha a Māui ki te kai ana kai roto e te pauri, ka tūa ia ki te mura o te ahi, ka kōrero atu ki tōna iwi.
Okay, now it kind of cut off at the end there. This audio of the text was actually generated by AI and created by AI. And then we got a tōmua and a ake. So go back and move forward. So move forward takes us to the next page. Now, I haven't set up any of these here, so let's see what we did. Okay, so we've got our text. I've got the audio file for this page here. I'm just going to click that and drag it on and just put it on to the outside. Okay. And then here, link. Okay. So our action, when we insert an action button, so once again, insert shapes, action buttons, they have a different kind of link options. So if we click on links, we can play sounds. I can go other sounds and I can actually find the sound that I want. Now I haven't tested because, I haven't tested whether this uploads sound directly into the PowerPoint, which means that if you share that PowerPoint with someone, the sound will go with it because it's embedded in it, or if it just looks for it on my computer. So I just ran out of time to do that. So we're not going to worry about that link at the moment, but that's what some of these buttons do. So actually, if I go link and I'll just go play sound, just to see what that does. Okay. So we can get action buttons to play sounds or to do other things. Okay. What else can we do? Right. But we'll just do what we did before. I'm just going to link. I'll take that off. We'll put that audio file on top. Playback when clicked on. Okay. So there's a reason why I've done this 3 times, just so you kind of really get the gist of what happens. So now this audio file, when it's clicked on, it'll play. I'll make it transparent. So that's cool. Okay. Our tōmua, we want to right click on that and we can link, and this is where we can link a place in this document. So we can go previous slide. Okay, and ake, right click, link, next slide. Okay, so we've created buttons to go forward and back in our story. Kia ora hamiora. Thanks for chickening in. So let's see what that looks like.
Ia rā me tere tonu I tātou ki te mahi I a tātou mahi.
Hey, cool. So we are starting to go through our story. So once again, if this is on a touchscreen, it's great. You're creating your own almost app. Now this one also has, because we've got the highlighted text.
Whakawera.
Okay, so if we wanted to
Whakawera.
teach a word, we could have an audio file there. So let's do that on this one. Okay, so just like we did with our huarako, we're going to insert audio, record audio. I'll call this tohu tohu. Tohu tohu. And once again, just like before, I'm just going to slide that over so it's covering that text. We want to play back when clicked on. So it looks like you're clicking the text, but you're actually clicking that audio file, and then transparency. So we set the button to play the whole audio file. We've set a audio above that text, so when you click on it, that plays. And we've set links to go back a page or forward a page. And this is where you can, once you've done it, you can right click on the slide and duplicate slide. So things like your buttons are already linked. You don't have to worry about redoing them. And they're always in the same place. Okay.
Tohu tohu.
Ia rā me tere tonu I tātou ki te mahi I a tātou mahi. Ki te rauake I a tātou kai e mua I te tōnga o te rā. He aha I pene ai tātou. Māku e hopu te rā I mua I tōna marana ake. Māku tonu e tohu tohu I te rā kia āta haile noa tōna ara whakawhiti ki te rangi.
Okay, oops. And let's go ake. Okay. Now once again, if I click on the blank space, it's going to go forward. So we just remember, come to our transitions and untick on mouse click. Okay. But the other thing that we can do to stop that is when we've finished our whole activity, we want to come to slideshow and we can set up the slideshow. And there's an option here, browse that kiosk, full screen. What that's going to do is that's going to disable any external clicks from happening. Okay? And as soon as someone opens this project, it's going to go into this view. I then can save it. So let's save a copy and make it a PowerPoint show, PPSX. So let's save that. And here we are here. We've got our interactive activities, PPSX. Okay. I'll close that one. And as soon as I click on it, or if I open it, it's going to go straight into the presenting mode. Okay, not into edit mode. I don't have an edit mode option.
Yay!
Next.
Yay!
So now, and look, nothing clicking around, doesn't do anything.
Āporo. Panana. Huakiwi. Arani.
And I don't have a button to go to the next one there. Okay. But that kind of shows you how you can make an interactive activity. You can share it as a PowerPoint show, and as soon as someone opens it on their computer, it goes straight into those activities. So we did something like this where we actually recorded our daughter reading stories, and then she got to send them to her whānau. So yeah, interactive kind of books, stuff like that. All kinds of things are possible just with a little bit of creativity and yeah, trying a few things with these triggers and actions and links. So just to cover off what we did, we had an audio file that we let's go format background, audio file, transparency, that we can either record or we can grab online. And once again, you can grab audio files on Pixabay. Where is my... No, so pixabay.com, okay, and sound effects. Okay, so you can search for sound effects. So I think I just searched for yay, and it's one of these ones. Yay! Not that one, but that would be awesome. Okay, and then you can download them and use them. So yeah, we drag them in. We set our shape with text inside it to flash when this was clicked. And if it was the right one, it would show up the next button. If it was the wrong one, it would show up try again, and then fade that try again out. Right. That one, similar. We recorded our audio directly into PowerPoint this time. Okay. We learned how to trim, playback, trim, and then we use that as a trigger in our animations. So animation pane to create a motion path for fruit that we're starting outside of our screen to drop down into the bowl. And this one, something similar. Brought in the recorded audio, put it over a play button, did another one for highlighted text, and the highlighted text, we just highlighted it, bolded it, and gave it a color. Okay, so nothing fancy there. Okay, and then we created forward and back buttons, right-clicking, link to a place in this document, and previous slide or next slide. So that was all there is to it. Pixabay is totally free, Julia. You can create an account if you want. You don't have to. Realize with Pixabay, though, one of the little tips is that to pay for itself, when you're searching for images, so if I just search for Apple, okay, the top apples that are shown, or the top images that are shown, are sponsored images. Okay, so you got to scroll past them, and usually there's a bottom line of sponsored images as well. There we go. And if I chose okay, Apple, I want to change that to all images, just to illustrations. And if I choose that Apple, there's sponsored images there too. So the sponsored images want you to go and use that image and to go and pay for another image or whatever. Okay, just ads. But it does have a edit image in Canva, so you can link your Canva account. But yeah, really, really cool. Royalty free. If you need to see what the options are for what you're allowed to do. This one says it's free for use under the Pixabay content license. So if we look at the content license, we can use it for free. We can use it without having to attribute the author, and you can modify or adapt content to new works. So really simple way to get content that doesn't have a fee or attribution required. So if you want this PowerPoint, I will share it. I'll save it somewhere and put a link here for anyone that wants it. I hope that was interesting and that was something a bit new for everybody. I had to remind myself how to do a lot of the stuff. There was other stuff I used to be able to do like a little bit more, but I think hopefully those kind of 3 different activity types were useful to you and things that you can do with PowerPoint. Yes, there's other tools that can do this specifically and probably do it better. We might look at some of those tools later, especially like coding tools or simple coding tools. We probably will look at them. But when we have these tools that are available to us, like PowerPoint, we know how to use it. Okay? Sometimes it can be the best kind of option, and it's just our creativity and our and what we bring to it and thinking a little bit differently that provides some of the magic that happens. Okay. Now, from here, there's a lot of people that are no longer on Facebook, seem to have cancelled their accounts. We use Facebook as the easiest way to connect, but although you can watch without being connected to Facebook, of course, Facebook wants you to log in all the time, so it keeps on bringing pop-ups to say sign in or create an account, and it's a little bit of a pain. The other thing is that Facebook delete these videos after a month now. So I've been saving the videos and putting them over onto YouTube, but we are going to have a look at seeing, firstly, if we can stream both to YouTube and Facebook at the same time. If we can, and the quality is good, we will do that. So people have an option either to view via Facebook or YouTube. I just have to keep an eye on 2 chats, but that's key to pie. If you, otherwise we may go to Facebook fully for our streaming. We will still use our Facebook page to advertise it, and we'll have the link to the live streams, the upcoming live streams on Facebook, but it might jump you over to YouTube when you click on that link when it goes live. So keep an eye on that. I'll hopefully make a decision very soon. Next week, we're going to do, once again, our last kind of PowerPoint or un-PowerPoint thing, and that's creating logos and graphics. So for our rongo Māori whānau, if you're starting a business and want to create labels for something that you're selling, I'm going to show you how to use PowerPoint to do that. Ka pai. Thank you all for joining in. Yep, you can definitely help me with chats. Thanks, Cheryl. Yeah, thanks all for joining in. I really appreciate everyone joining in. If you got ideas for things that you want me to cover, let me know. I can use all the ideas that I can get. Otherwise, we will see you next week. I'm off to have an ice cream and play some games. So, ka pai, stay warm, and ka kite a te rawiki. Ka kite. Outro video. If you're not used to me singing silly stuff, this is what I do every week now. It's become a thing.